And welcome to the Mediocre Photography Show. My name's Ben.
And my name's Jack.
And this week we're going to be discussing our photo conversations for the last couple of weeks. The word this week was retreat. And I actually really enjoyed the word retreat. I thought that it was, challenging without being too impossible. And I had quite a few different ideas for where I wanted to go with it. And ended up with one that I'm mostly happy with. So first of all, I think we should talk about the photos that didn't quite make the cut and the ideas behind them. When I immediately came across the word retreat, I thought about sort of safe spaces and what a safe space is to me. And ultimately, at the moment, my safe space is where we are, my room. And the original idea that I had was inspired by a still life project that we did back at university, which involved a load of post-it notes. And what I wanted to do was cover the entire walls and every surface of my room in post-it notes in order to, sort of create this really bright, colourful, pastel-y effect. However, it turns out that post-it notes are really expensive. And my back of cigarette packet mass, I think I would be looking in excess of about, I think it was something like 8 to 10,000 post-it notes in order to cover everything. And that's a lot of post-it notes, a lot of time, and also a lot of wasted paper. So that idea was quite quickly canned. And so I decided to jump back into, never would have guessed, the environment. Hooray! And ended up photographing this image here, which I'm going to send to Jack now. This is a location that I photographed quite a lot over the last few weeks or so, and it has certainly become a retreat in a big way for me, and that is Gamlingay Woods. Now, the reason I like the woods is it's quite segregated. It's quite, well hidden off the beaten track. And there's a lot to explore as well. It also feels very enclosed and it's just a very peaceful place to go. And so I tried to capture that in the photograph itself and ended up going quite small and looking for the smaller things. Now, I was fortunate enough to be shooting this quite early in the day, so the light was very directional, and I decided to shoot this at a very shallow depth of field. And the reasons for that is that I think that really shallow, soft bokeh really adds to the fragility and this ethereal look to the image. And I think that the light highlights it quite well as well, and makes it look incredibly fragile. And, the story behind this and the reason that I decided to photograph this is that when you retreat, I always think of it as quite a negative word. You're running away from battle. But often the reason that we retreat is so that we can gather ourselves, gather our thoughts, gather our forces, if you want to continue the metaphor, and come back stronger. And for me, this little piece of grass, it represents solidarity, and it represents, even though you feel fragile, you're still standing, you pick yourself up and you continue. And now we come on to the problem. For the life of me, I cannot work out whether or not I prefer this in black or white or in colour. I think the black and white definitely adds a lot of contrast to the image. And even though the colour is nice, I do really like those sort of very dark royal greens in there. The black and white just gives it that little extra add of tonality, which I think makes the image pop. However, Jack and I have discussed at length trying to create a consistency within the work that we're creating. It's another reason that I didn't do the post-it note project. And all of the photos that I've taken up from now have been shot in colour, not in black and white. And as you can see from half the series over on my shoulder there, it is very jarring and it's very difficult to work with both black and white and colour images within a sequence, especially when you've just got the one out. So I'm a little bit at odds. Jack, I'd love to know your thoughts, and audience, I would love to know your thoughts as well. Jack, I'm about to hear your thoughts now. Audience, leave them in the comments below.
I much prefer the colour.
Oh, do you? That's interesting.
It is interesting because obviously I've been working a lot with black and white recently, and I've sort of not flipped over, but sort of gone towards that. but I much prefer. I think the light has more of an effect on the colour photo than the black and white one.
Yeah.
And as you said, as soon as you said you mentioned the light, I was there like, that is a lovely bit of light. But I am sort of glad you didn't go for the post-it note one. But no, I really like it, and I again, I like your retreat meaning, and I think it's very sweet and charming.
Yeah.
That you've gone for something so small.
It's not overcomplicated. It's not, it is what it says on the tin.
So my go, and I hate to bring the mood down. When I first heard retreat was the word, I immediately thought of running away, and more specifically running away from a problem. The more I thought about this idea, I realised that I am the type of person to run away from a problem. I haven't really faced any big problems head on recently. I think the biggest problem I've had over the last couple of days is trying to take this picture without looking like a complete dickhead. I stuck to that running away, and visually I sort of wanted to... I'm trying to make my images a lot more cinematic and a lot more simple and a little bit more clean. And in terms of the sort of cinematic style, I looked at Cindy Sherman recently, and so I thought about bringing the camera closer. Done that in a while, but then I remembered that I'm not an actor and I'm barely a photographer, so to save myself the embarrassment, I just moved the camera even further away than I did last week. So this is what I went for. I did exactly that. I set up the camera and had it on a timer and had my phone connected to it. And what I did pretty much was just run laps. I just ran down the hill and up the hill and then back down the hill and up the hill, and until I got something good. Like my other images, I like the subtlety of the meaning. It's not so obvious within the image, and I think this is sort of helped by the distance between me and the camera. And I know that I want to sort of work with that and experiment with the distance between me and the camera over the next couple of weeks. Visually, I like the simplicity of it. Again, I think this is sort of helped by the distance between me and the camera. I like the flickers of light on the ground by my feet, and how the trees sort of enclose me in a way. They look like they're sort of chasing me down the hill. Again, it's a lot more cinematic than I thought it would be. I'm actually quite chuffed about that. And I like the overall atmosphere and sort of cinematic feel of the image. I think that sort of it's told me that to sort of take my images to where I want them to go and the next level, I sort of need to sit on an idea and sort of not go out looking for the shot, but rather create the shot in my own head and then go out with a location in mind.
First of all, I'd like to give you a round of applause for, writing a script and preparing for it. Well done. Yeah, I completely agree. This is by far one of the best photos that you've taken. I think that it's also one of the best explained photos that you've taken as well. You definitely know what's going on with this, and I think that now that you've kind of got that sorted and you're happy with that element of it, then you can go ahead and start creating work which is going to run better in the sequence, that's going to be more consistent as well. And I think it's also going to be, if I can get very critical for a second, hopefully it's going to prevent you from making those silly mistakes like having your boxer shorts showing. So, the photo. I think you're a little bit too far away.
Oh, yeah, I do you know what? I knew you were going to say that.
So, there are two reasons that I think that. First of all, and the big one, is perspective. That the flower in the foreground of the shot is bigger than you are. I think the other thing with this is I can see what you try to do with the border of the image, but the sort of the wall or the building just to the right of the image, I think that's just a little bit too distracting. It's too dark,
right,
and it's drawing your eye too much over to the right.
Okay, yeah.
honestly, I think the best solution to this would literally just be crop it in by about 100%. Because you're still going to have that really natural border with the dark foreground and then the dark trees, but you're just going to be that much closer. Now, this photo I think works really well with you being shirtless and just wearing shorts. I think that, you know, if you'd gone fully nude in that, then you would look like a streaker.
Yeah.
And I think that that's another thing to consider in when you're going forward with these photos now that we've spoken about kind of your wardrobe, what you're wearing or what you're not wearing quite a lot. And you need to be considering, again, you know, there's the ethical standpoint of that of, oh, am I happy with this? But also, if you're thinking, oh, this would work better if I'm nude, but I don't want to get nude, then you need to consider, how can I alter this photo in order for it to have clothing working in it and at its advantage. So, now it's time to choose another word.
Yes, I have the random word generator up here. 3, 2, 1. Isolation.
Really?
Genuinely.
Is that genuine?
The minute we come out of lockdown. God damn it.
Oh my god. Isolation it is. Jesus Christ. I swear your app is rigged. But get involved. Use a hashtag Mediocre Conversation with any submissions and you will have the chance to be featured on the show as well. Deadline for this one is going to be in a fortnight. With all that being said, I think that's about it. Do tune in next week because we have a very special episode. Jack and I actually hanged out for the first time in 3 months, and we're coming at you with a new segment of the show, which is going to be, I think, a good laugh. It's going to be a good laugh. So, with all that being said, Jack, if people liked your work and want to see more by you, where can they find you?
At Jack Henderson Photo. And Ben, if they liked your work and wanted to see more, where can they find you?
And they can find me at Ben Bullman Photo. And if they like the show and want to see some exclusive outtakes, bloopers, and be notified of when a new episode comes up, always on time.
Oh, that's at the Mediocre Photo.
Fantastic. If you liked it, like it. If you really liked it, well, subscribe. And we'll see you next week.
Cheers.